Hey everybody, welcome to T-Roy Cooks. Appreciate you joining us. Today I'm cooking inside. We're going to cook just a basic stew with carrots and potatoes. I'll show you what goes in it here in just a second. I wanted to thank Matthew and Holly. They live in Alaska. They're good friends of mine and subscribers to T-Roy Cooks. They sent me this hat. How you like that, folks? Holly and Matthew, thank you very, very much for the hat. And Karen thanks you for the Alaskan chocolates too. She's loving it, man. All right, let me show you what goes in this stew. All right, here are the ingredients. We got the meat, we got the carrots, we got the potatoes, got some white rice. I'm gonna use a little bit of flour. I just got a couple of little small things of beef stock. Not sure how much I'm gonna use. Some salt and pepper. If there's anything else I'm gonna throw in there, I'll introduce it as the video progresses. I always change my mind. I wanted to show you here the meat though. This is chuck roast, folks. This is a great cut of meat. And as you can see, I always talk about the marbling. Look at all that marbling in this. And this is choice. No, I'm sorry, this is USDA Select. But check out all the marbling in here, folks. Really, really nice marbling. You're looking for that when you try to get yourself a nice piece of meat. And any piece of meat that would fall apart as it slow cooks, a tougher cut of meat like the chuck roast or rump roast or anything like that, those would work perfect. Even it's like a sirloin steak, if you want to, cut that up. But what we're going to do, cut this up into cubes. I'm going to trim the fat and all this other gristle stuff off of there. The potatoes, I'm just using some red potatoes. That's what I had in the pantry. I've already opened the bag and used some of them for Sunday roast last weekend, but this is what I had in the pantry. You can use any kind of potatoes, the Idaho, the gold, whatever you want, man. Let's get to cutting this meat up real quick and bring you back when we're fixing to put it on the stove. All right, folks, I forgot to mention, we are going to need a little bit of oil in our Dutch oven to brown the meat. So I'm using vegetable. You can use canola, corn oil, whatever you have on hand, doesn't matter. You don't need much of it. Maybe, depending on how big your pot is, maybe a couple tablespoons or so. Go ahead and salt this meat. I've kind of laid it out on this baking sheet so I could do this right here. Just toss it around. Make sure we coat all sides with that salt while we're getting our pot up to temp. So let me wash my hands, salt this other side, we'll be right back. All right, as you can see, I got a nice big Dutch oven. It's cast iron enamel coated. This is a Le Creuset. But get you a big enough Dutch oven so that you can be sure and brown your meat and also add your veggies and liquid to that. I'm gonna go ahead and just eyeball some of this vegetable oil in here. And again, you don't need a ton of it. We're just gonna brown the meat. Let me get this warmed up and we'll meet you right back. All right, folks, this has probably been three and a half minutes. Once your oil is up to temp, it'll start shimmering, and you may even see a light smoke, but you can definitely see it shimmering. And I forgot to mention, this is over a medium-high heat. What you could do to see if it's ready, though, you could take a little pinch of flour, put in here. See how that flour sizzles? That's a good temp right there. And your meat should sizzle when you put it in. Just like that. It probably could go a little bit more, but we're good. And we're just going to throw the meat in here and just let it go. And toss it around, brown it on each side. And if you have a small pot, you may need to do your meat in 2 different batches, browning it, because you don't want to overcrowd the meat. That'll make it steam instead of browning. So let me get all this meat in here. Get it browned up. And again, toss it around. After about 30 seconds, 45 seconds, turn it over. Let it brown on the other side. And just keep going until you get it all browned, and then pull the meat out and set it aside. We'll bring you back at that point. Okay, it's been a few minutes, and this batch is just about ready to pull out. I just want to show you real quick if I can. It's kind of hard to see, but this piece right here, you see, it's not cooked all the way through, folks. That's what you're looking for. You just want to brown it. You don't want to cook it all the way through. And that's going to help it develop a really nice flavor in the stew. So we'll pull all this meat out. We'll throw the next batch in. And if you have to do 3 batches, go for it. If you're making a big, huge pot, go for it. But we'll do this second batch, and we'll meet you back. All right, you still have a little bit of oil in there. I'm just going to add a touch more after I pulled all my meat out of here. There we go. A little bit. We don't need to make a large amount of roux, just a little bit. Let that warm up just a second. You get all that fond on the bottom here in the pot. That's flavor, folks. That is some good stuff right there. Yeah, we're gonna make a little bit of gravy. Actually a little roux. It's going to help tighten up and thicken up the stew just a little bit. And again, I don't want it to be like a soup, but I don't want it to be like a thick gumbo either. Put a little bit of flour in there, maybe a little bit more. Let's see how that looks. And just kind of eyeball it. Equal parts oil and flour. And again, all-purpose flour is what I'm using. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll roll with that. If you make too big of a roux, too much roux, it'll actually really thicken up your stew, which is, I mean, you may want it that way, and if you do, go for it. I just like mine to have a little bit of body though. And we're just going to cook this for a couple of minutes and let this flour taste cook out, plus it'll help brown that flour just a little bit. And I've got this, let's turn this down to like a medium, so I don't burn the flour. Yeah, it's looking real nice though. Alright, we'll bring you back here in a couple of minutes, folks. I forgot to mention, you've got to continuously stir this so it doesn't burn up on you. Again, bring you back here in a couple of minutes. Okay, it's been a couple of minutes. You can see hopefully you can see on camera in the time lapse there. It's gotten a little bit darker. Now I will mention too, the darker that the roux gets, the less thickening power it has. So bear that in mind too. Just kind of play it by ear, but that's a good, something good to think about anyway. All right, we're going in with some water here. You'll see the water will be absorbed by this flour. And at this point you can see it is forming the paste for our gravy. Which again, we're going to really water it down, so it's not going to be like a gumbo or anything. It's going to be just a fairly, well, it's going to be a stew with some body to it. I like my stew to have a little body. All right, go in with a little bit more water. And just keep adding a little bit of water at a time, stirring this in. And if you need to, get yourself a whisk if you start seeing lumps and stuff. But if you do this correctly, you should just be able to use a regular wooden spoon or something that's not going to scratch up your pot. And it will eventually clean the bottom, and you will have a nice thin gravy, which will be the starting point for your stew. As you can see, you know, I still got some lumps in here, but they're going to work themselves out as I keep stirring this. And again, we're over a medium heat now. Turned it down when I was browning that flour. Okay, and once you get all that water absorbed, go ahead and add some more water. And we'll keep doing this, folks. Just keep doing this. And each time you can add a little bit more water. I don't know if you caught that I was doing that, but you can. And I was going to mention too, this is one way of doing this. My grandmother actually does this differently. She flours the meat after it's cubed up. She'll flour the meat on all sides and brown the meat that way, and then, you know, in some oil and stuff. And then she will pour the water and that flour that cooked onto the meat. It'll give the meat a crispy type crust. And it will also, some of it will break off and it'll thicken and give a good flavor to your stew. So that's another option of doing this. And again, more water, and just keep going. So we'll bring you back here in a little bit. And this won't really thicken until it comes up to a boil too, so bear that in mind. But all these little bits and pieces you see, those are what's scraped up off the bottom. That's that fond that's going to help give this a lot of good flavor, folks. When that meat crisped up, browning on the base, on the bottom of the pan here, the Dutch oven. Don't forget to do your sides here. Yeah, produce that fond. That's that. It's almost like bark on barbecue. It's just a really crispy. That's where the meat really got hard and crispy, and sometimes it breaks off and just sticks to the bottom. But that's where we're at right now, folks. I'm gonna let this warm up a little bit. We can go ahead and add the meat, and as you can see, I'm adding all of the juice that came from the meat as well. And And I might as well go ahead and add in at least one of these bottles of this beef broth. So let me do that real quick here. If I can do this, let me see here. I hadn't opened one of these in a long time. Let's see. All right, shake that baby up. And this is I'm sorry, this is not beef broth. This is beef stock. That's what I'm using. There you go. Just gonna add this, and this is 8 1/4 ounces. So I'm gonna get this added, stir it in, put the lid on it, let this baby go for a little bit, and let that meat tenderize in there, probably for a good hour, hour and a half. And then we will bring you back and we'll taste it and see if it needs some more salt and pepper, which I know it needs pepper. I haven't added any, which I can go ahead and do right now too. And at this point, what you're doing is helping to flavor the meat. So if you want to add any oregano or any other herbs or bay leaf in here, go for it. At this point would be a good time to do it. If you like a little bit of tomato sauce or some kind of like crushed tomatoes or something in your stew, go ahead and add it at this point as well. But we're just going to let this baby rock and roll. And you see the meat's just barely covered, folks. That's what you're wanting, just barely cover the meat. Put the lid on it, keep this like on a medium-low. Once it comes up to a boil, turn it down to medium-low. Put the lid on, just let that baby rock and roll for a good hour, hour and a half, and we'll check it. We'll bring you back then. All right, gang, this has been going for right at an hour. It's looking really good. It smells real good. The meat itself is not quite tender yet. It still has some more to go. But I did give it a taste. It needed a little bit more pepper, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Doesn't need any more salt. I've been trying to cut back on my salt a little bit, so I think the salt level's okay. It does need some onions and some garlic. So I've got half of a large onion that I've just kind of cubed up, or diced up actually. The reason I didn't add the onion or the garlic earlier, I didn't want this onion to basically cook down to nothing. I still wanted to have some slight chunks of onion in there, so I did that. And truthfully, with the garlic, I just plain forgot, man. But we gotta have garlic, right? Throw that garlic in. That's fresh garlic. That is 3 to 4 nice sized cloves. There we go. Give that a good stir up. And let that keep cooking. Put the lid back on it. And we are maintaining. And again, this meat right here, it's not tender yet. We still need to let this meat cook down. And it may take you 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, depending on the cut of meat you got. But just nice and low. In fact, you can put this on in a slow cooker and let this cook all day while you're at work. It'll be fantastic when you get home, folks. This is how you do it. This is gonna be good. Y'all stick around. I'll bring you back next time we do something. All right, guys, this has been going 3 hours, and this meat is it's actually getting really tender. There you go. See how it's falling apart. I mean, that was a little effort right there. So the meat's really tenderized, really good. Now we're going to add some carrots. And I just buy one of these bags that's, I already got the carrots already done here. We like carrots. I'm just going to throw the whole bag in there. And I'm adding the carrots first because they take a little bit longer to cook than your potatoes. Of course, depending on the size of the potatoes. But I'm going to crank the heat up to about a medium. I'm going to let these carrots, let the stew come up to boil, and then I'm going to turn it back down to like a medium-low. Put the lid back on, let those carrots go for a good half hour, and we'll bring you back here when we're adding the potatoes. All right, folks, it's been a half hour. Let's get that fog out of my lens first off, and let's go ahead and throw in some potatoes. And again, I took 5 potatoes, with some red potatoes. Just kind of quartered them basically. As you can see the size there. And we're gonna put the lid back on this. We're gonna let this go another half hour, and I'm fixing to start some rice. I won't show you that because I think everybody knows how to cook rice. Just read the package directions. Anyway, put the lid back on this. Bring it up to boil again. Then turn it down low with the lid on. And let it finish cooking. We'll be back. Alright, folks, before these potatoes get done and all this gets done, I asked Karen to taste this and she said, it's missing something. Let's throw some extra stuff in there. So we're going to jack this up just a little bit. We're We got some tomatoes out of the can. We just kind of, these are, I don't know, we just cubed them up, folks.
They're peeled tomatoes and we chopped them up.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Karen. Karen wanted us to have a little extra.
Some more stuff up in there.
Yeah, got us some green peas. Sorry, you put green beans in here too. That'd work.
Yeah, it'd be real good.
There you go. Just however much you think you want. Corn, super sweet corn here.
And whatever else veggies you might have.
That's true. Doesn't matter. Just make it your own, folks. That's the fun thing about cooking. I keep telling you.
There we go.
Is that looking better, Kenny?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now that looks like some stew.
It does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Some little options in there, stuff to eat.
Personally, I like lima beans in here. Y'all can see this meat's just falling apart right here. Oh man, that's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
All right, so we're gonna let all this frozen veggies come up, and those tomatoes will help flavor this a little bit. We may need to tweak it a little bit with some salt and pepper here at the end, but we're just gonna let this ride a little bit, let them potatoes and carrots finish cooking. We'll check back here before we plate it up. All right, everybody, I think this is ready to go. And I did add a full can of, it's a 28-ounce can of tomatoes to this. We were looking at it and was like, nah, it still doesn't look right, so we added the rest of the can of tomatoes. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get some of this plated up for you, or actually put it in a bowl for you. We'll give it a shot. Tastes pretty good. There we go. All right. Let's try this out, folks. It looks yummy. All right, everybody, we're back. Let's check out this stew. And I must say, check that out. That looks fantastic, folks.
Sure does.
And I'm actually glad Karen came up with the little additions we put in at the end. But if you want it plain, just leave it plain. Carrots, potatoes, meat, that's all you need, man. But I'll tell you what, it's some good eating right here, folks. Right before I fix the bowl though, right after I fix the bowl, put a little bit of hot sauce on there, just some Louisiana hot sauce. Cause that's how I like it.
Yeah.
But that's good stuff, y'all. Hope you give it a try. Check the description box. I'll put the recipe down below. Then show more. Hope y'all enjoyed this. If you did, if you make it, let me know. But if you enjoyed the video, give me some thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber yet, hope you subscribe. Folks, hope you share the video. When you do, please tell all your friends that T-Roy cooks responsibly. Cheers, everybody.